Happy Labor Day, folks. It's, you got it, baby. Labor Day 2012. Welcome to Weber on Sports here on FingerLakes1.com. Glad to have you alongside. Another holiday, and that means that fall is just around the corner. As I mentioned last week, kind of a sad note. Today, of course, marks the end of Max for another year. Last day to go up to Max and get the fries and the burgers and all that good stuff at Max Drive-In, as they will close the doors until next April. Sort of a sad memory for us folks that live in this area every time that Max closes up and the stools go up on top of the tables. But that, of course, will happen later on this afternoon. By the way, kudos goes out to the Baltimore Orioles and anybody who's a fan of them, all 3 or 4 of you that check out my show. My good friend Billy Tuberville, who is probably in the witness protection program, I haven't seen Billy in years, he might appear. I got to give you credit. There are times where I'm dead wrong about sports, and you know that's probably more often than not. But nobody thought that Buck Showalter's team would be a contender. They would think that they were a pretender, because really going into the 2012 baseball season, nobody gave them a shot. Think about it. Think about all the baseball periodicals that you read. Yankees, Boston, Tampa Bay. They were going to battle it out. Boston put a fork in them. Sorry, Brad Jones. They are out of it. Horrible. They got rid of half of their team, got rid of a ton of money on their payroll. Will Bobby Valentine still remain there? Who knows? I think he's part of the problem as well. But nobody thought Baltimore, as we arrive on Labor Day 2012, would be but 2 games out of first place for the American League East. And keep in mind, this series is just completed over the weekend at the Bronx. The Yankees get steamrolled last night, something like 8-3 final. The Orioles should have swept that series, folks. On Saturday, the Orioles had a 3-1 lead, and their goofy relief pitcher got crazy, and Hardy, who's one of the best shortstops in Major League Baseball, got eaten up by a ground ball, a shot by Nick Swisher. Thus, it turned the tie. The Yankees pulled that game out 4-3. But really, if you look at it from a baseball standpoint, the Yankees should have been swept. That lead should have been 0, should have been even. Nada. As it is, you should be kissing your Yankee stars that the Yankees still have 2-game lead in the loss column as they now go to Tampa Bay. And, of course, that's the situation, as the Orioles are not going to give up. You got to give them credit. They are a lot better than I ever expected, and I think Major League Baseball ever expected. Well, down at the Seneca Falls Country Club, a place that Jim Senecropa, the owner of FingerLakes1.com, and myself spent a lot of time there. The 2012 36-hole final of the Seneca Falls Country Club Championship match play. It's the battle of the young guns. Johnny Sandless, along with TJ Pizzulo, are battling it out. They started off this morning for the first 18 around 8 o'clock. They'll play 18, take a lunch break, and then finish up the second 18 if they need to go that long. Match play, of course, is when you win enough holes, and there's only a few holes left. If you're up 5 and there's 4 to go, it's bye-bye time. So congratulations to Johnny Sandless and to the likes of TJ Pizzulo, who are battling it out right now as I do this show. And I look forward to bringing Mary, going down there and checking out some of the action after I leave the studios this morning. Let's talk about the St. Anthony's Festival. Always a grand time. Speaking of Jim Senecropa, ran into him and his wife and his daughter. We had a good time. And it's 2 thumbs up with one concern. And this is not criticism, it's just a concern. I was brought up by the Mynderse family, Italians. I married a Sicilian, Palermo. I'm used to pasta. I'm used to giblets. But I'm also used of Italian bread, the old-fashioned way, real Italian bread. You know what I'm talking about. Italian bread that is that long and that thick. That's Italian bread. My name is Weber, but I was brought up Italian all my life, and I'm married to a wonderful Sicilian girl. When we go up for giblets, which, by the way, Jim and myself walked up to the giblet booth together on Saturday night and ordered giblets. I don't know what the price is, $4.50? I think it's $4.50. They give you a nice bowl of giblets, and they were good. They give you a slice of bread that is literally, can you see that? Yeah, 1/1000th of an inch thick. And it's about that long. Not. Listen, Ange Bonifiglia, sometimes he checks on the show. Anybody checking me out today that's part of the St. Anthony's work crew organizational crew, management crew, get that bread out of there. You guys have got ovens over there making pizzas. Get more ovens and make bread. Let's have Italian bread. Big, thick, scrumptious. You can dip it into the giblets. Okay? Only criticism I have of the St. Anthony's Festival. The bread is horrible. Charge an extra 50 cents. But you got to change that bread. That is something that does not work for me. I won't speak for Jim, but I'm telling you, folks, you got to get better bread, and you got to charge extra. I could care less. Okay? That's the only criticism I have of the 2012 St. Anthony's Festival. By the way, I had a chance, along with Mary, to check out the meatball eating contest. Little Italy, I think, provided it or something. They were giving $100 away to the winner. There were final four. And they put your hands behind your back. You can't use your hands. You can't use a fork and a knife, okay? You just got to dig down with your jaw and eat these meatballs. Good-sized meatballs, by the way. The real meatballs, big. Mark, what is his name here? Mark Schrader, in 2 minutes' time, ate 7.5 meatballs. 7.5 meatballs. And all he did is just, like a woodpecker, digging down to the dish, chewing on the meatballs. 7.5 meatballs in 2 minutes. Will he have an upset stomach? Will he need Pepto-Bismol? No doubt he had to have 2 bottles of that stuff afterwards. But they present him a bill, which, by the way, is not a $1 bill or a $10 bill or a $20 or a $50. It was a $100 bill for his efforts. So congratulations from FingerLakes1.com Sports to a young man named Mark Schrader, I believe I have his name correct. Congratulations on winning that meatball contest, even though he's going to have achita for about a week and a half. My buddy Nick Gillette did not disappoint. I've been listening to Nick Gillette for, I guess, 50 years. He was never, ever expected to make it this long in the music business, but Nick has a way of attracting crowds, and he has a way of getting the people off their duffs onto the dance floor. I'm not so sure he's come out with any new tunes in the last 20 to 25 years, but Nick is sensational. Him and his group did their normal thing Saturday night. The crowd was roaring, and Nick was doing his imitations of Elton John, etc., etc. It was fun. Nick is truly a legend, and if you see Nick Gillette, tell him you heard about it on the Dog Show. He's truly a legend, Nick Gillette. Well, let's switch from having meatballs from Nick Gillette to the Syracuse football program. Certainly it's a tough loss. Jim Senecropi made the call. This is the worst case scenario, lose to Northwestern. You're expected to lose next week in New Jersey. Not to say you can't pull off a major upset, but it would be a major shocker. Jim was reminding us of the time Nebraska came into the Dome when they were #1 in the country. Could SU do this in New Jersey? It's going to take an unbelievable effort. You know, there's a zillion ways to look at this game. A lot of people say, well, they fought hard. They came back from 22 down. Naismith looked sensational in the second half. Yes, yes, yes. But I'm going to play a game with you, which I like to play on this show. I'm going to give you a name, and I want you to tell me instantly what comes to mind. Northwestern. To me, it's academics. Fine school, academically sound, ranks up there with the Georgia Techs, the Dukes, the Stanfords. Tough to get in, academically strong. Are they a football program? Not. Are they a basketball program? Not. They're known for academics. Now, you can argue all you want about the miscues that Syracuse made. Bottom line is, they gave Northwestern 42. Miscues, fumbles, bad snaps, kickoff returns. I hear it. I hear your rabid Syracuse fan point of view. I dig it. I can live with that. But you gave them 42. Somehow they scored 42. You guys scored 41. Now the librarian has got a new twist, which has just been uncovered. We're now going to involve the community. If you read his post-game comments, oh, the community's proud. The kids fought hard. The community is proud. The Varsity Pizza Shop, they're proud. The Post-Standard Carriers, they're proud. They're proud of the team. Now we're talking about proudness. How about wins? We're talking about proud, community spirit, rah, 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 the kids never say die. Great, but it's a loss. Any way you slice it, it's a loss. Doogie Marone continues to amaze me. Yes, let's do some stats for you. This is 6 straight losses. 5 from last year, 1 more. Doogie's record, the librarian, 17 up, 21 down. He was going to turn the program around. Not. And the guy that I love to pick on, Dr. Dale Gross, who's been there 8 years, said he was going to turn the fortunes of SU football around. Let's give you an update on his stats. Since he's arrived, his number one goal was to make Syracuse a contender. 27 up, 58 down. 27, 58. You can talk all you want about community spirit. They should have won that ball game. That was a winnable ball game. Hey, folks, you got Southern Cal next week. Then you got Stony Brook on the rocks. As Jim points out, he's an SU grad. You watch. That crowd will definitely be dwindling as the next home game in a couple of weeks. I guess I'm amazed how Marone can turn the temple and now use new theories. Oh, it's the community fight spirit now. You lost the freaking game. Somehow they scored 42 against you. And again, play the Weber game. Tell me what Northwestern brings to your memory. Not a football program. Oh, by the way, Syracuse is not the only one wallowing today in defeat. Give credit to Youngstown State. They went to Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh. Okay? By the way, an opponent of Syracuse in a few weeks. So all things are equal in the world of sports. Youngstown State goes in there and upsets the Pittsburgh Panthers by not a couple of points, by 14. Hey, kudos goes out to the Hobart Statesmen. They opened up very impressively against Denison this past weekend. I believe the final score was something like 35-0. They controlled the game from the outset, so congrats from fingerlikes1.com to the Hobart Statesmen. And speaking of ball games, what gratitude and gratification do you get out of going and playing a football game? A lot of schools book bigger schools for the checks. Stony Brook comes to the Dome in a couple of weeks. That's not exactly an opponent that most people want to see Syracuse play. But the Stony Brook organization, their administration, will get a nice check, okay, from the SU folks for coming as an opponent. By the way, Stony Brook opened up with a win against some junior college the other day, if you're just following that information. But you wonder what makes people go and play certain teams. It must be money motivated. Oklahoma State took on Savannah State. I did not know, Lord give me strength, that there was a school called Savannah State. And I think at age 67 and a half that I kind of follow sports pretty closely. I got a great memory when it comes to schools. I don't recall ever hearing of Savannah State. Maybe Jim has, but I haven't. Oklahoma State took them on the other day and won 84-0. 84-0. Now, if you're keeping track, that's 12 touchdowns and 12 extra points. 84-0. Now, if Savannah State goes in the locker room to dress up, to fly home or drive home or take a cab home, what positives could they get out of that game? As my boss once said at Gould's Pumps, name me two. Give me two reasons what that would be for Savannah State players and their coaches and their AD. Give me two reasons why they would be positive leaving the stadium. I'm waiting. Oh, you don't have any. The point is, come on, folks. It's a joke. I mean, the NCAA slams Penn State, punishes them for all that Sandusky, and I'm not trying to compare the two. But my God, can't we have some sort of scheduling balance here? What possible advantage or positive ideas or memories that a team called Savannah State's ever going to have? What's it going to do to their season? Losing 84-0. Enough already. Well, speaking of enough already, Penn State expecting to win their opener, 99,000 people at Cheerful Valley. Not. They had an 11-point lead, losing to Ohio. Correction, it's not Ohio State, it's Ohio U. Not exactly a football powerhouse. And, of course, O'Brien under the gun. Well, it's the coaches. We didn't do a very good job. Well, you did a good job in the first half. You led by 11. That's a game they should have won because their schedule is going to be tormenting them. And as they said, that their program will suck for 10 years. Unfortunately, I must report this morning, it started to suck early, losing to Ohio when you had an 11-point lead. This is Weber on Sports on a Labor Day 2012. It's good to have you alongside. We got a few more topics to talk about after we'll go out and get some of that Italian bread for the St. Anthony's Festival. We'll be back with more. Back here, folks. It's the dog with you in the kennel here on Labor Day 2012. Hope you're checking the dog out live. If you didn't, if you're playing it back, hope you're enjoying the show. We go from coast to coast, talk about all kinds of things on Mondays on this show. Let's talk about Notre Dame Navy. Yes, they said they sent 1,000 of the Navy, of our fine Navy, to Dublin, Ireland. They paid their own way. Thank God the government didn't pick up the tab. They went all the way to Dublin to play that game. Final, Notre Dame 50, Navy 10. Think they picked up some air miles on that trip? You just wonder why they have to go to these weird places. I understand the connection between Ireland and the Fighting Irish, but my God. Mismatch, lose by 40, long flight home. I don't know. Hey, you know what? How about Mynderse football? For years, I've been picking on my alma mater for not having a respectable football program. I understand the soccer influence, and a lot of kids don't show up. Mike Miller, the coach up there, has got not very big numbers, but they start off big against the little village that I was born in. They crushed Lyons on the road the other night. I don't know, 62 to 20 something. Unbelievable start. Good kudos for Mynderse Academy. Not so good a start for Lyons, but hey, Mynderse has had some tough, lean years in the world of high school football, so it's kind of nice that they start off with a big win. By the way, if you're wondering about that $15, $18 million project that the superintendent and all the administration that we, the taxpayers, voted in years ago, well, the new turf is in. They say it's spectacular, and all the other enhancements that we're spending $15, $18 million bucks in this town of Seneca Falls. You get a chance to see that complex free. They take on a school called Nichols. I believe they're out of Buffalo Friday night this week. Free admission to check out the facility. We've been trying to track down Scott Redding, the athletic director, to have him come in for the Dog and Polly to talk about those events and those enhancements to the academy. And we're still going to track him down. As a matter of fact, I'm going to call him tomorrow and try to line him up as a guest for the Dog and Polly. But again, if you want to see where all your money is going, Mynderse Academy, Friday night against Nichols, free admission. Check it out. Well, I don't know about you, but I can't wait for the NFL Wednesday night opener. The Giants entertaining their hated rivals, the Cowboys. By the way, the line opens up at 4 points favorite for the New York Giants. NBC will have the coverage Wednesday night for real. Bring on the NFL. I can't wait to see some real football. You know, I've told you before, one thing that I'm anal about, I don't do preseason. I don't watch preseason. I don't read about preseason. I could care less if preseason ever existed. I'm a guy that likes meat and potatoes. I don't like the appetizers. I want the main course. The main course starts Wednesday. Giants at home, nationally televised by NBC against the good old Cowboys. Tony Romo, Jerry Jones, Des Bryant, and the rest of the cowpokes. Should be a good one. Check it out Wednesday night on NBC. And you know something? I got to say one thing. I haven't watched any preseason, but I've watched ESPN, which I normally do every day. These substitute refs, ugly, horribility. These substitute refs, oh my God. I think Jimmy and the Dog could put on uniforms and do just as good a job. They're clueless. They push the mic down. Half the time the mic don't work. And then when it does work, they get confused at what they were going to say. Ugly. Can't we get the NFL to bring the real ones back? The NFL is $1 billion industry. You mean you can't throw a few crumbs to the officials? Come on. Roger Goodell, bring them back, baby. I can't fathom watching real football with substitute refs. My point is, too, there are a lot of great college officials out there. Really, there are. If you watch college football, there are some really legendary college officials that get, notoriety because they're good, consistent. Why not bring them up? Why not bring them up and do the NFL? All these ugly refs. Oh, that's going to be ugly. One eye. Thank God I only got one eye. I can only see half the screen because they are just deplorable. Come on, Roger, and bring back the real refs. Well, let's go to the world of racing. Nationwide. Stenhouse Jr. wins Atlanta over the weekend in the Nationwide. We give it a Danica update. She finished 13th. I saw my good friend Ted Flock at the festival the other night. He says that Dickie Marshall, a fine sponsor of the Dog and Polly show, reminded him that he got an autographed picture of Danica's car and a signed autograph for both Ted Flock and Dick Marshall, and he was thrilled to get over to Dick's office to see it live and in person. Well, you know, the NASCAR race took place last night, and Denny Hamlin, hotter than a firecracker, wins again. Denny Hamlin's got that team rolling, the FedEx number 11 car. Oh, Danica update. All you Danica fans who I rip on saying that she should be serving hamburgers at McDonald's or she should be working the cosmetics section of Walmart. 29th. Is she doing great? Not. Did I call this? Yes. Oh, by the way, keep pulling for Danica, folks. Go, Daddy, go. Sooner or later, they'll figure it out that she's not got the game to compete with the big boys on the NASCAR circuit. You can say that I'm a male chauvinist pig all you want. I'm only quoting data. Let's talk about golf. They're in Boston, the final round of the Deutsche tournament in Boston, a FedEx playoff tournament underway. Final round starts today. Golf Channel will have coverage. Then, of course, NBC this afternoon. Louis Oosthuizen from South Africa. 7 birdies in a row yesterday. I have a hard time making 7 bogeys in a row. 7 birdies in a row. Shoots a 29 on the front. Takes a 3-shot lead over Rory McIlroy, that young phenom who won the PGA by 8 shots a few weeks ago. Tiger Woods is at 13 under, so he is 6 back. And, of course, coverage on NBC and the Golf Channel later today. You know what? I'm getting a little tired. It's getting a little silly now about talking about this merger talks between Mynderse Academy and Waterloo. You know, Jimmy Senecropi and myself are graduates of Mynderse. Jimmy had a better GPA than the dog. That's not surprising because you only needed a little 63.6 to beat the dog. I barely had a 63.5 average when they kicked Mitty out back in the 1963 year. But, you know, I'm getting a little tired of this talk. I am not, quote, I am not in favor of a merger. I'm going to go on public internet here, fingerlakes1.com, and tell you why. I like it the old-fashioned way, the Hatfield-McCoys. I remember growing up, we couldn't stand Waterloo. Waterloo couldn't stand us. Rah, 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 football games, bury 'em, bury 'em, bury 'em. Come on, folks. We can't do away with that. My biggest concern of any merger talks, oh no, by the way, if we do merger, what are we going to do with these 2 multi-million-dollar sports complexes? The one I told you to go Friday and check out up at Mynderse, we spent $15, $18 million on that. And how about the Waterloo complex? That's better than the Oakland Raiders training camp. Are you serious? Multi-million-dollar sports complexes. What in God's sakes would we do if we ever merged? Nope, I'm not in favor. I have a lot of friends in Waterloo who I dearly love. But from a competitive standpoint, I like staying separate. And by the way, Jim and myself will tell you, being a Mynderse Academy graduate has bonus points. Because when I dated girls back in the 60s, she used to say to me from out of the town, where do you go to school? You know what I used to say? I don't know if Jim ever used this line. I go to the academy. That's impressive. You don't go to Waterloo. You go to the academy. Now, the Penn Yan folks can also say that way back when. They go to the academy. So if we are to merge, if that ever happens, what are we going to call ourselves? Mynderse Lou? Or Water Academy? Come on, folks. Sorry, I'm not in favor of it. I'm going on record. I want us to stay separate. To death do us part. By the way, Kenny's 2 pennies coming up this week on fingerlakes1.com. And oh, Kenny Haas will be wound up with that loss, 42-41. You want to back away from the internet screen on that one. Kenny's 2 pennies, a great show. Check them out here on fingerlakes1.com. Coming up this week on The Dog and Paulie, speaking of the Academy, Rod Verke will be in the house. Rod, a great athlete at Mynderse Academy, plus his sons, obviously. He'll be in talking about the Hall of Fame dinner at the New York Chiropractic College coming up on October the 6th, plus a host of other issues. So hopefully you'll join us as well. Take care, everybody, here on a Labor Day. It's great having you alongside. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll catch you next year at the St. Anthony's Festival. And believe me when I tell you, if the bread doesn't change, I'm bringing my own Italian bread. That's a look at sports my way.